Hey everyone, this is London Bridge Bricks, and this is my flick through and review of Blocks magazine issue number 78. So this is Blocks magazine's latest offering. Then starting at the top, we've got our off-roading with the LEGO Technic. We'll be taking a look at that review a little bit later. We've got audio instructions, making sets accessible, learn to build minifigure pianos as well. That's a really interesting piece there on the techniques of building different keyboards and pianos. Down here, we go back to the 90s for some classic UFO action, and then kind of sticking around the 80s and the 90s, or at least that's what it feels like sometimes. You've got here Video, the inside story on how LEGO and Universal created the music video player. Then over here on the left hand side, we got ourselves our reviews, one of which being the large creator expert Porsche, which I think is an absolutely stonking set, and we'll get to see what Blocks magazine thinks of it themselves. Of course, this is issue number 78. It retails here in the UK for £5.49, but I was lucky enough I didn't have to pay a thing for it because Blocks kindly sent it to me free. So just so you know, folks, all my views are of course my own. So let's start then looking back at the month of LEGO then, shall we? So LEGO have published their financial findings, and as you can expect, they've actually done pretty good. Sales are up 21%. There's a 50% increase in active LEGO Ideas users. Absolutely no surprise there, folks. 100% increase in visits to lego.com. Certainly if you live in the UK, up until kind of this week, we've not been able to go to any LEGO stores for quite some time, in all honesty, and a huge 134 LEGO stores have opened as well. And I've got to be honest, I'm a little bit surprised by that, but I'd imagine that there's quite a big kind of push out there to Asia. Now the usual kind of themes have done pretty well. LEGO City, Friends, Star Wars, and even Mario are in there, in amongst kind of the best sellers of the year. And when you kind of bundle that all together, I think you'll find that LEGO has actually outpaced the toy market as a whole. So well done, LEGO. Over here, I thought this was a pretty good little story. On page 13, we've got, for the first time in 20 years, Technic have actually come out with a polybag, or at least coming out with a polybag. It's set number 30465. It comes with 70 pieces, and it's a model of a small helicopter. So with that kind of in mind, I can feel a bit of a popping polybag issue coming on. So I might try and get that in myself in the future. So I thought this was actually a really interesting kind of article from Kat here. It's kind of like she's talking about, you know, passing on the love of LEGO and why she's not kind of, you know, if she hasn't built a set for some time, or maybe she's kind of just built a set and has kind of lost the love for it, that she's kind of more than happy to kind of, you know, pass it on, and, you know, and she's got, rather than hanging on to it, she's kind of more inclined to give it, to sell it on and give it to someone else who actually appreciates it even more. So with that in mind, she kind of talks about how she's kind of used car boot sales in the past for selling on eBay, but of course in this day and age, it's not really the done thing. So she's kind of gone on to going online and selling stuff on eBay, and you know, she's really careful as well about breaking down her old sets and puts those parts back in numbered bags, which I think if you was actually to buy a set of Cat, that was brilliant. That is. I mean, I've bought quite a lot of sets off eBay. I bought a few recently, in fact, the Yellow Submarine, for example. I got that, and that was immaculate when I got that, and that was second hand, and all the parts and stuff were actually put into bags, but they certainly wasn't put into the bags that they originally came out of, that's for sure. There's a great line in this particular article as well. She says, it's impossible to have too much LEGO, but it's very possible to not have enough space. I kind of think we all feel that, especially if you happen to be a LEGO YouTuber as well. She kind of says as well that there's many toys are throwing out. There really are. I mean, you think about, you know, teddy bears, all sorts of toys that do get thrown out, but of course LEGO never really is one of them. And because of that, you know, when you sell it on, or whenever you give it away even, you know, a kind of a new chapter of enjoyment is added to the history of the set. Okay, Okay then, so on page 38 we get our first review this month, being the Porsche 911. LEGO managed to capture its dazzling curves in both the turbo and the Tiagra version, and the review explains the history behind both variants and the kind of differences within the builds as well. Blocks actually calls it a masterpiece and gives it a very high and healthy 91 out of 100. I mean, this particular car is my dream car actually, and to have this set maybe for the first time where I actually buy one set but actually buy it twice, just so that I can kind of have both versions up and out on display. Let me know if you've ever done that with a particular set. If it comes in like 2 different variants or something like that, a bit like the Mustang really. There's kind of 2 variants to the finish of that particular set. I mean, did you like it so much that you actually bought the 2 variants of it? Let me know down in the comments below. So, page 46. And next, Blocks kind of reviews the video. This new augmented reality app that allows you to make kind of short 1-minute videos of Lego figures performing in the real world. It's got some niggles with with stuff like slow loading times, and it kind of they mentioned that it frequently crashes, but overall Blocks says it's kind of the best augmented reality app that LEGO have come out with to date. But let me know if you've tried it as well, and what did you think of it as well. I think it's a really good idea. It doesn't really detract from the builds. I'll always be into the builds. That's kind of like why I like LEGO. But I'm really interested to know like feedback from you lovely lot out there, if you've actually tried this and what your thoughts of it. I mean, I think it's got potential, but of course, like everything, we have to wait and see. Okay, so continuing with video then, we kind of start breaking down and looking at some of the actual bits and pieces that we can get with it, in particular, of course, the minifigures, which I think are breathtakingly great. So this particular one, obviously, is the beatboxes on this particular side. We've got the Unicorn DJ and the Hip Hop Robot Beatbox as well. Both suffer, they say in the review, from the issue of being kind of massively overpriced, and I think some of that maybe has come down from the development of the particular game. I'm not really too sure, but I would imagine that is the case. That said though, I've not seen them at full price here in the UK at all. In fact, most recently, last week, Amazon was selling them at like 45 to 48% off, which I think is brilliant. That is very, very good value for money. So if you've seen them at that price and you got them, let me know what you think. But I think personally, I think they're really, really good minifigures. Going on and still keeping with video, actually, we've got the bandmates. We've got the Cotton Candy cheerleader and the Banshee singer. And on the other hand, these are kind of better value because you kind of get all the figures look really good and they're kind of bursting with their own personality, and each one comes with a unique bit as well. And the Banshees look particularly good. The bandmates don't come in blind bags, but instead they all come in blind boxes, and that's kind of been a bit of a bone of contention among the LEGO community. But if you've bought the boxes, what did you think? Are you missing the fact that you can't actually feel for what you're buying, or you're not missing that at all and you just like the fact of buying something blindly anyway? But let me know what you think about that, of course, as always, down in the comments below. So, from movie making to Star Wars movies here. So over here we've got set number 75302, the Imperial Shuttle. Now I think actually they've been quite generous here, Blocks, because they've given it 72. But me personally, I would have been a little bit lower than that, simply because you've got all this gappiness going on here in the actual cockpit area. And I kind of thought it was a bit off that the Darth Vader that comes with this particular set as well hasn't got printed arms. Anyway, let me know what you think about that score as well. As always, I always find the reviews quite interesting. Over here, we've got the Resistance Y-Wing, and this hasn't fared well at all in just about every single criteria that there is for reviewing a particular LEGO set. They're giving it a terrible 20, but I mean, let's face it, folks, there isn't really too much to it, and yeah, that's probably all it deserves, in all honesty. Then down here we've got the AT-AT versus Tauntaun, and this folks, at the very least, at the very best, is a complete mismatch. It really is. I can't think of anything worse than matching an AT-AT against a Tauntaun. I mean, there's no competition there at all. The AT is going to come out on top all the time, but of course this isn't to scale or anything like that, far from it, folks. It's the Microfighter series, and both builds, I've got to be honest, they look pretty good, and I do like having this particular Hoth version of Luke as well. And you know what, if you happen to be liking this video, then please do use that force, folks, and hit that thumbs up button. Now this particular set actually intrigues me quite a lot because it says here, set number 42124, off-road buggy. An off-road radio controlled buggy, but without the radio control or the off-road ability. Well, that's just crazy, isn't it? But anyway, the reason I'm really drawn to this particular set is because a good friend of mine, Solo Brick Builder, he recently built it on one of my live streams. But when I was a teenager, I actually used to race RCC cars all over the UK, and I gotta be honest, I absolutely loved it. Now, I kind of, grew out of car racing and stuff like that, and maybe 10 years on or so, I then got into Lego, but it never really ever occurred to me to ever get back into it. But it's kind of a really up and coming thing again, and it always kind of interests me as well. And I was surprised to hear recently that even Jang Bricks was really into it as well back in the day. But what I do like about this particular set, I think the colours are striking. It's got good clearance. It's got those knobbly tyres as well, which I absolutely love. And it really does look like the real deal. And the design itself actually reminds me of the Kyosho Optima from back in the day. But the piece count on this is absolutely terrible. It's something like 32p per part. But in the contents of this, it really doesn't really matter, in all honesty. It really doesn't. The drawbacks are, though, that it's let down by poor controls, which is kind of what's put me off from this site, this particular, this set, and the high price point as well. But I have seen it on discount at about £90 at the moment. It retails normally at 120. But anyway, they gave it a verdict of 68 out of 100. I do think it's a big improvement over past sets that they've done like this. There was, of course, the Top Gear set that was just, it was just a very average looking rally car that was way below average when it came to speed as well, because it was as slow as a snail, which you wouldn't expect from a Top Gear car at all, would you? Page 64, and we've got the Hall of Fame, and it's the sets that all that according to that should be in your collection according to all the readers or the Blocks viewers. So what's changed on this then recently? Looking at this, okay, we're in at number 8. We've got here the Ninjago City Gardens, which I think is most likely. Well, so most likely it definitely is going to be the most expensive set from the year, I think anyway. But of course, I think it's going to be one of these sets of the year as well. And I think that is a kind of a modern day classic version of number 4, which is of course Ninjago City. And here we have here at number 2, the Ford Mustang. They give it 100 out of 100, which is amazing really. It's only bettered really by this one, which is the Pirates of the Barracuda Bay. And this one again, recently, I built this on a stream as well, which I absolutely loved it. And I've got to be honest, it is an absolutely stonking car. And I'm seriously thinking about changing it as well and adding the extra bricks to it, so you kind of get the RAM charger on it as well, and you kind of adjust all the suspension in the back of it as well. But let me know if you've actually done that. But yeah, no, I built it on the transatlantic live stream that I did recently with my good friend Brick Hive, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I do really enjoy a large Lego car. So page 68 now, and Blocks magazine is in conversation with a very interesting chap by the name of Matthew Schifron. Now it's a really nice, heartwarming story about Matthew, who is obviously vision impaired, and he's talking about his journey in life with Lego. And he discusses a time when a good family friend, Lila, made for him actual braille instructions, and this kind of developed further into what became legofortheblind.com, his and hers website for partially empowered people. And what amazed me is that the fact that they didn't actually just do small sets, they did massive sets like London Bridge. Now over the course of time, sadly, Lila passed away, and then since then the website has continued on, and Matthew now actually consults for Lego on making Lego accessible for more vision impaired children as well. And he talks about his journey in that as well. He talks about the brow bricks and how they, the tactile helps kind of kids learn to read as well, and how he's using bricks for writing music and planning rock climbs of all things. I mean, it's just things you would never believe that Lego could actually have a use for. But he very much does do that. And the nice thing is he's kind of continuing on this legacy from his good friend Lila. And it's a really thought-provoking read. I really enjoyed learning and understanding much more about what it's like to actually be vision impaired as well. So page 86 then, we're kind of tickling the ivories, which I always think is a funny phrase, and looking at techniques for assembling pianos and keyboards. And here they're kind of giving us tips on how to utilise how designers themselves have actually approached the builds using official Lego sets. So over here, we've got the piano that was used in Assembly Square, which is an awesome Lego modular set. It really is, folks. And here, what I like about it is that they're using the kind of 2x2 groove tiles to good effect. I mean, well, yeah, they actually show it, they all come into pieces and coming together and everything like that. And I honestly think that is a really good effect for a piano. I really do. Anyway, they look at a couple of other sets as well. On page 90 here, and we've got ourselves, we've got a Friends theme set, so they're kind of going across the board here from modular to Friends set. And this is it, kind of using the keyboard here with the new printed tiles, which I think looks quite good. I mean, I'd loosely call it a piano, but it's a keyboard, isn't it? You know, it's like one of those Casio ones or something like that. But I think that looks pretty good as well. And go back to that one as well from Assembly Square. And there's a nice picture. I like that image there in the background. I think that looks particularly good. And in page 92, we're continuing on this trend of technique sets here, and it's back to the Friends theme set. You've got this keyboard here with again using these new printed tiles there. I like that. I like the coloration actually. I'm a sucker for anything kind of grey on white. I think it looks really good together. It's probably why this particular one is my favourite one. And in 93, we've got a nice piano here taken from the Elf Clubhouse as well. Oh yeah, peace perception. I like this this article as well. We've got here, it's kind of like it's a technique from a mock by the guy with the name of Arnie Janke, and the skill here, the skill with all these is, of course, it's a micro scale scene. You've got here these two caps. Well, there's a picture of the cap just here, and they're kind of used to really good effect because they look like the whole, or rather the whole of an old sail ship that's kind of like broken up, and it's kind of being eaten up by these giant tentacles here. I think it looks really good, and I love the use as well of this 2x2 kind of slope there. They're using it as a set of sails. I think that looks brilliant as well. But of course, then you've got the construction of the water around it that's then used to good effect for you to actually be able to plug in and use those kind of red tentacles as well. I think it looks really good, and the creature, the monster, is of course the Kraken, and the Kraken striking. I think it looks really good. I love these sort of micro scale builds. And then, oh great, yeah, Lego ideas, showcasing Lego ideas here. And this, firstly, we're looking at Mark Sloan's project. Now, he's used Studio to design the brick-built map of the United Kingdom, and I like the way he's kind of used plates and tiles to kind of give that kind of depth to the feel of the mat as well. You got, it's a great, I mean, for me personally, I think it would be a great way of actually educating kids and adults all over for the British Isles. So you got on the Lego's Ideas platform, you'll find Mark under the name Sharky Bricks, and his idea is kind of near, I think it was something like 2,350 supporters, and you'll find a link to the Lego Ideas page down in the description below. Now, I don't know about you, but I actually love tuk-tuks. I think they're good fun, I really do, especially to get around in Asia. And here we've got some great adaptations of the actual tuk-tuk itself. I mean, it's some fantastic ones. I love the Star Wars one here. Let me know which one is actually your favourite down in the comments below as well. But I absolutely love this Ghostbusters one as there. Actually, is that an official Lego Ghostbusters Marshmallow Man? I don't know if there ever was one. Certainly the figures look right, but yeah, I think that actually looks like the real deal. I think it's good fun as well. I love it. So page 102 and Rewind this month takes a look back at the old theme UFO from the late 1990s. Over here, Rewind this month, it kind of looks at being Daniel's last space theme as well that he collected. Now, in all honesty, I can't remember one of the last sort of things that I collected as a kid. I mean, like I said, I got into, when I was a teenager, I got into RCC car driving, but this particular one's quite, again, there's another one of these heartfelt sets, because this was the kind of last, it was kind of a coming of age kind of set, I suppose, for Daniel, of this particular theme. And I can't be honest, it's actually got some really nice things about this particular theme as well. I mean, he had stickers there that you could kind of rub and it would come up with different names and the images would change and stuff like that. But one thing I will say is this, is that you've got there some great minifigures that were way ahead of their times. I mean, you've got the printed faces that look absolutely amazing, and you've got these highly detailed torsos as well, and you've got these cracking looking helmets that they wear as well. And I don't believe that these helmets have actually been used in any other theme since this theme kind of finished. Well, you know, it didn't even make it to the 2000s. It would have been something like 1999, I think it finished. But yeah, what a great looking theme. But this particular set here, set number 6975, the Alien Avenger, is the biggest set, and I gotta be honest, it's brilliant. I mean, really, what I love about this particular set, having read it, is that essentially, it's a classic looking flying saucer, but it's got loads of playability in it as well. And this sensor section here actually pulls out of it, which I think is a cracking idea. But yeah, look at all the figures that it comes with and everything like that. And if you was to buy it today, it would set you back £333. Wow, that is incredible. But this particular one here, look at this, look, the Warp Wing Fighter as well. Just going back to this one, it's just like a combination of an X-Wing fighter meets the USS Enterprise. It's bizarre, isn't it? Anyway, page 106, 107, Daniel takes the classic set 6836, the V-Wing fighter, and updates it with a more kind of realistic and sturdy look. And then page 114, we've got From the Vault. We get a really interesting insight here into a time when Mojang, the developers behind Minecraft, were actually secretly working on a game with LEGO called Brickcraft. I mean, how crazy is that? I mean, the collaboration after a couple of years didn't really work out, and it kind of all collapsed, and you know, LEGO went one way, and of course Mojang went in a different direction as well. And you know, as they say, folks, the rest is history with Minecraft. And talking of history, and with that in mind, that kind of nicely brings to a close my review of Blocks magazine issue number 78. Thank you as always for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, then please do give it a thumbs up. You can follow the channel on Instagram and Twitter. And if you happen to be new around here, why not hop on and subscribe and become a big part of the LBB family. I'll leave you now with some videos that I think you might like.